Hey guys, Blossums here, and today I wanted to briefly go over the brand new 3.1 banners that we are getting in Genshin Impact 3.1, as they look really good. I don't typically make these kinds of videos, but these banners seem particularly juicy, and I think you might want to take a look at them, and I'll tell you why. So let's just quickly go over them. First up, we'll talk about the characters that we're getting, and of course we are getting the Sino banner here, and he looks pretty sweet. He seems like an interesting character. I don't think he's going to be busted or anything, but he looks like a ton of fun, and I'm pretty excited to get him. But there's also going to be Venti, so if you want Venti, he's a phenomenal character already. We know that, and he's actually pretty dang good with Dendro, considering he can suck up those Dendro cores. Now, I do want to mention though, however, both of these are fantastic. Go for whichever 5-star you actually want. I think it's imperative that we talk about these 4 stars because these are some really good 4 stars on the banner. First up, we do have the brand new 4-star Candace, who is being made available here. Her kit seems pretty interesting. I don't think it's going to be busted or necessary like a must pull or anything, but it does seem really cool and I really like her design, so I'm pretty excited to try that. However, the other 2 characters on the banner are very valuable, especially with the introduction of Dendro, and their constellations are valuable, which I think makes this a particularly enticing banner. And let's talk about that for a second. First up, we'll talk about Sayu and her constellations. She's a phenomenal unit already. I think she's incredibly underrated, but she has gotten stronger with Dendro. She really does help out a lot of different Dendro teams, filling in that healer slot while enabling you to swirl and pop off that way, but her constellations do help her out a ton. First off, the C1 is likely the most important, as it removes the limits on the actual attacking enemies and healing your allies, which is phenomenal, allowing the elemental burst to do both without you having to worry about your HP. And then the C2 is pretty cool just because you get some increased damage on your E skill, which is nothing too crazy or anything. It's fine, it's whatever. But with the introduction of some of the weapons that we'll talk about later, I think it might be more relevant. Or C4, it contributes to how often she gets this elemental burst, because it is an 80 cost elemental burst, and that can be quite costly, so recovering some of that energy is quite nice. And then her C6 is really nice, especially with Dendro, because it allows you to solely focus in on the elemental mastery side of things for Sayu, which she already scales off of, and it allows it to not only heal you more but also deal more damage. Not only are your swirls going to be popping off, your actual damage itself will be doing much better, and the healing will be doing much better, which is fantastic. These constellations are really good for her. But then on top of that, they also have Kuki Shinobu on the banner, and Kuki Shinobu is also a character who really benefits from her constellations. She's a phenomenal character at base, especially with the introduction of Dendro, because she's just an amazing hyper bloom character for that type of reaction, as well as just being one of your only options for electro related Dendro teams, because there is no Dendro healer yet. So her and Dory are pretty much your only options for an electro healer, and if you already have her, her constellations are really going to benefit you, because not only do you get an increased AoE on the C1 here, you get an increase in the duration, making its uptime actually 100%, I believe, if I'm correct. The 3 seconds there makes it to where you can cast the E off of cooldown there. And then the C4 is pretty cool because it allows you to have an additional amount of AoE electro damage applied for your electro application, helping out with those instances of those Dendro reactions that we talked about. This is really strong. And then her C6 just allows her to revive herself, which is a very nice quality of life in my opinion, because she's always going to be low HP, and if you're bad at timing your healing like I am, you can often find your Kuki getting annihilated when you're not paying attention. It also increases her elemental mastery when she's below 25% HP, which is very nice considering she scales off of elemental mastery, which you notice might be a recurring theme with a lot of the Dendro oriented stuff we've been getting lately, and with a character like Kuki Shinobu who was released, who seems to be very good with Dendro because of her inherent elemental mastery scaling. And that leads back into the weapon discussion. Now, I mentioned these weapons earlier, and that is because I think they're pretty valuable, and I'm not even talking about the 5 stars. The 5 stars here actually do seem pretty good. The spear seems pretty strong. Elegy of the End has always been fantastic. It's a really good option, especially for your different bow characters that you might be using for Dendro reactions. Getting that increase in elemental mastery is very nice. But what I mostly want to focus in on is the brand new 4-star you might see in the back there, because it is a brand new claymore, and that brand new claymore is called the Makaira Aquamarine, I think is how it's pronounced. Don't quote me on that, but the 4-star itself seems pretty good, as every 10 seconds, the equipping character will gain 24% of their elemental mastery as bonus attack for 12 seconds. And this has an EM substat, and it also gives your nearby party members 30% of that buff for the same duration, which is phenomenal. This is going to allow you to buff your allies' attack, which is really cool. And it's EM scaling, and we just talked about an EM scaling Claymore healer who could support your team really well. And this is going to be a really good option on a character like Sayu and other future supportive Claymore characters for your different teams, allowing you to bestow a little bit of attack via investing in your elemental mastery. And this isn't the only weapon of its kind. The other ones aren't going to be on this banner, but they did preview 2 other very similar looking weapons of the Catalyst and the sword versions of that Claymore, and they seem like they're going to be doing the same thing. I think the sword works off of giving energy recharge rather than attack, but I'm pretty sure the Catalyst gives attack similar to the Claymore, and they all scale off of elemental mastery, have those elemental mastery substats. So those are pretty cool weapons, and I don't really advocate for summoning on any weapon banner. Usually it's only like if you really want something, or if there's a 4-star on there. I really can't recommend weapon banners because they're almost always terrible. But if you have some extra primos and you're not looking forward to some of the characters, these weapon banners are pretty enticing. The 5 stars are good, the brand new 4-star is good, and these other 4 stars aren't bad either. The Favonius weapons have always been fantastic. Widsith is better than a lot of 5 stars in some cases, and the Lion's Roar is pretty mid to say the least. But if you're working on building your Kaching and you don't have a 5-star option, it's a phenomenal option for her in particular. So yeah, I really just wanted to talk about these banners as I think they're pretty good. The constellations for the 4 stars are looking really good. There's 2 brand new characters available if you're going for Sino there, and some of the 4-star weapons on the weapon banner are actually looking good, and the 5 stars aren't bad options either. They all seem pretty good. So I'm actually kind of looking forward to these, and I'm ready to dump some primos on Sino and Candace, and hopefully getting some of the new 4 stars. So stay tuned to the channel if you want to see more info about those characters and about these 4 stars, as I plan to be making content about them. But other than that, I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. My name is Blossums, and I'll catch you later. Peace.